Welcome back to the Gun Dungeon, guys. I got something pretty different for you today. This is a pretty rare little gun. Not rare as in valuable, but just rare as in you rarely see it. And this is the H&R 686. It looks like a single action army firearm, like a single action only gun, but this is actually single action or double action. Now, don't get me wrong, the double action trigger on it is not great. It has a very, very rough double action trigger. And this is 22 long rifle, but it also has a 22 WMR cylinder with it. So, what do you think about that? You ever seen one of these? If you have, I'm sure you know that anywhere you go looking, researching these things, any forum you come across, you'll find they have a fairly high cult following. Just about everybody likes these little guns, and for good reason. It shoots pretty good. The single action trigger isn't terrible. It's not great. It's not like an actual single action army, but for a 22, it's not terrible. I got to be honest with you. The sights are pretty good. Adjustable rear sight there. You got a high blade front sight. I mean, nothing fiber optic or nothing, but you got to think these things are pretty old. I couldn't find a whole lot of history on them. There's not a whole lot of information out there on them outside of forums, and I don't really like repeating information that I hear on forums. This does have a fall-on block here, so it's a transfer bar actually. So it is safe to carry 6 rounds in, because once that transfer bar drops down, when you let loose the trigger, the hammer cannot reach the rim of the cartridge. So it is safe to carry. And as you can see, it's six shot here with both the 22 mag and the 22 long rifle. It loads and ejects just like a standard single action. Pop your side gate open. Now there's no click or nothing here. This just swings. It's actually fairly loose. I should probably figure out how to tighten that up if I can, because it does kind of start to open a little bit. As I get done with the cylinder, it'll be setting about right there. So you just open your side gate there, go to your cock, then you can rotate the cylinder, load your rounds, and go. Now there's not a lot of room there. You can see that groove right there's where you'd load it. There's not a whole lot of room there, so it is kind of tricky getting the little 22s down in there, but you know, it's just nothing you're going to be speed shooting with or anything like that anyways. It's just fun. It's pretty cool. It's different. Got your case hardened receiver there. The frame's case hardened, blued barrel, actual walnut grips. It feels pretty good too. I wish this wasn't there. I wish I could get a little bit higher grip on there. I don't know why they put that part in there, but it's there nonetheless. And like I said, man, this thing's it's just neat. It's pretty cool. And I figured I'd bring it out here, show it to you guys, shoot it a little bit, maybe bang some steel. I do plan on putting some shots on the Xfinity target. If you guys don't have an Xfinity target, go get one. Link below, TGD15, get you a discount on that. I'm gonna put some shots on there with the 22 using some of this Federal stuff, and then I'm gonna switch and put some on there with the 22 mag, just to kind of see if there's a point of impact difference between the two. This ain't very far off, but then who knows? We may even try some 80-yard gong with this little thing. You never know. Let's shoot it some. Let's start out putting some on the Infinity Defense target and see where our point of impact is. All right, I've got 6 22 LRs loaded. I'm not gonna use my rest. I'm just gonna rest on my elbows here. So it looks like that's actually shooting a little bit high. I highly doubt you guys can see that. Maybe I'll try to zoom in the editing. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't, who knows? But it's definitely shooting. I'm aiming center of the A zone in that target, and I'm hitting top of the A zone. So that's where I'm at. So let's swap out for the Winchester Magnum rimfires, and see where the point of impact is on those. I'll change this cylinder, be right back. Okay, so I saved this last one to show you here. Now, the 22 mag's easier to load because it's longer. You don't have to get your fingers as close to start it, but you can see there's not a lot of room to work with there. So, all right. Well, we're already on play, so let's just go ahead and see what we can do. Those shot more point of aim, actually. Shot a little bit lower, so it looks like it's probably sighted in for the 22 mags. I'll be honest with you, I haven't shot this a whole lot since I've owned it, and I've owned it probably, I don't know, 3 years or so, and probably longer than that. Really, all the extent of my doings with it is just coming out every now and then, banging on some of that steel from, I don't know, 10, 12 yards, calling her good, putting it back up. But never done that before, but it's definitely sighted in for the 22 mags. But saying that, I'm gonna swap back to the 22 long rifle cylinder. I'll show y'all how to do that. Y'all be sure to go over and check out Vetter Holsters. They're a big sponsor of the channel, help me out quite a bit, so y'all get over there and help them out as well. Here's one of their outside the waistband models. Awesome design. They have about any design you can think of. They're also one of the few companies that I've seen making holsters like this with the claw attachment inside the waistband model that fits the Glock 29 and the 10mm versions of the XDMs. So if you have a gun, they probably make a holster for it. Check out Vetter Holsters. And while we're at it, I gotta mention Target Sports. They just became a sponsor of the channel. If you shoot very much throughout the year, their Ammo Plus membership is well worth it. It'll pay for itself in the year's time if you shoot very much at all. So be sure to go check out Target Sports. Their link is below. Oh. So first, I'm just gonna unload it. Go to there. Unloads like any other single action. Now, the ejector rod isn't long enough to push the Magnum cartridge all the way out. Hopefully I can show you here. That's as far as it goes. You got to pull it the rest of the way. Oh, that one don't want to come out. You can see there, you got to pluck the 22 Magnums out. Now the 22 long rifles, they pop right out. You can see I painted my target earlier so we could see the shots. Got paint all over me. I can't do anything without getting messy. But to take it loose, it's already on the half cock, so I'll just leave it on the half cock, or first cock actually. Push this button in front of the cylinder here, pull your rod out, and then your cylinder just rolls right on out. There's your empty frame, Magnum cylinder. We're gonna roll the cylinder for the 22 long rifle back in. We'll start our pin, and you'll see it won't go any further than there. Push the button, it'll slide on in, line up, and then make sure it's not going to come back out, and we're good to go. Now we're back to 22 long rifle. I just have to remember this thing is shooting high. And let's see if we can bang some steel at 80 yards with it. Who knows? All right, we are loaded up, 80 yards. I'm going to give her a whirl, guys. I ain't promising you nothing, though. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. Shot high. Three for 6 with this little thing. It's not bad considering the trigger's not all that great. And that's the first time I've ever tried that. Not bad. Luckily, I saw on the very first shot, I saw where it was hitting, and it shot just over the target, so I knew to hold low after that. But I'll take that. That's not bad. So some of you may be asking, if you have a 22 Magnum cylinder, why do you need a 22 long rifle cylinder? Same diameter bullet. Wouldn't the concept of 357 Magnum, 38 Special kind of play in here, where you can shoot 38 Specials in a 357 Magnum? Why can't you shoot 22 long rifle in a 22 Magnum? Well, let me show you why. Yes, the bullets are the same diameter, but take note, the 22 long rifle is a heeled bullet. So if you see, the case and the bullet are the same diameter. This bullet is set with a heel inside that case, and then the outside of the bullet is the same diameter as the case itself. Whereas the 22 Magnum seats just like any other rifle or handgun cartridge, where the bullet sets inside the case itself fully, and the case is actually wider than the bullet. So the holes in a Magnum cylinder fit the case, which is wider than the case of the 22 long rifle. Sometimes they will fire just fine in a 22 Magnum cylinder, but the case will split and it'll make it harder to extract. Sometimes they won't even go off at all because there's a little bit of wiggle there, and the case rim may not be in the perfect spot for your firing pin to hit it. So if you got a 22 Magnum, shoot 22 Magnums in that cylinder. If you want to shoot 22 long rifle, either get something that has a spare cylinder or use a dedicated 22 long rifle. With that being said, I've got loaded up with some 22 long rifles here. And let's just do what these things are meant to do. I have some paint cans set up. Let's shoot them. Maybe. Oh. All right, so I mentioned that this thing is single action and double action, and I've been shooting it all single action essentially since you've seen me start shooting it. So I have 4 rounds left there. I'm gonna go ahead and just shoot those double action, play around on the steel a little bit. You can see this is a pretty tough trigger. I hope you don't see it. I hope I don't miss. Yeah, it's a pretty tough trigger in double action. So I think I've actually renewed my interest in this thing today. The last impression that I had of it whenever I first put it up was, man, that trigger is terrible. Can't hit anything with it. And I've had it out today and I've actually been shooting it pretty good, especially in single action. Double action it's not a great trigger, but it's manageable. And honestly, my interest is renewed in this little thing. I'm glad I did this video today because it's been sitting in the safe for a long time, not getting any attention. Kind of, get out of the way. But it's actually really fun to shoot. And I'm going to get some different 22 Magnum loads and try this thing out in with a couple different ammos. Who knows? This may be a decent little squirrel popper whenever I get it lined out, get it sighted in. Who knows? But this is not something that you see very, very often. But if you do, you can get it cheap enough, get on it. I think I gave $100 for this thing. And now I'm really, really glad that I did. But that's what I got for you today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget, I have a Patreon if you want to help the channel out. The link to that's below, along with all my other sponsors. If you want to go hit those guys up, it helps me out. Just floating around their stuff off of my links, that helps me out. So as always, till next time, guys, stay tuned.